Are you thinking of ordering some Freddie's flowers to be delivered to you at home? Not quite sure what to expect? I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops and Flower Star, the online flower arranging classes. Come with me as I unbox my flowers, arrange them, and I'll share my discount code with you so you can get your first box of flowers free. So first of all, let's get into the box. This way up, and I'll pull the flaps at the side, unbox the flowers. Oh, and it does say, fancy a free box. Invite your pals, and if they sign up, we'll send you free flowers. Share your invitation code. So that is my invitation code. Go to freddiesflowers.com and type in JulieD3596 and you'll receive your first box of flowers free. So inside here we've got a little card explaining what the flowers are. So this week's flowers are Flower Poetry in Motion. We've got asters, the September flower, which is like a little daisy, the bloom chrysanthemum called anatove, and the phlox called ice cap. And there's some tips on how to get your flowers to last longer, recut the stems, add flower food and keep them away from drafts, sunlight or fruit bowls, and then some tips as to how to arrange your flowers and some advice on what kind of vases to use as well. So the flowers have been secured into the box with string which runs across underneath as well, so you're not going to get damaged in transit. So I would say that when you first take the flowers out of the box, it can be slightly disappointing because they've been out of water for a while, and if you haven't unpacked them straight away, then the flowers will look slightly bedraggled. But I would say that you need to work through this and give your flowers a chance to recover. So these are the asters, the Michaelmas daisies, and I will admit here that these flowers have been out of water for quite some time. I was out when they were delivered yesterday, so I have high hopes though they're going to recover in no time at all. They look quite bedraggled. So what I do is take off the lower stems, the bits of green that's going to end up in the vase of water, recut the stems at an angle and put them in my vase. So I'm not arranging them, I'm just letting them have a really good old drink, and in a couple of hours I'll come back to them and then I'll arrange them. I don't want to rush it, and at the moment I haven't got time to think properly about the flowers, so it's just a matter of recutting the stems and going on. Now next I have got the phlox. These really pretty white summery looking flowers. The leaves on these are nothing special at all, and I would almost be inclined to take all the leaves off because they don't look special. But I will just take the few off at the bottom, put the stems in my hand, my scissors cut at an angle. Stems will ping everywhere, so take care, and they can go into the vase as well. But at the moment I'm using my vase as if it's just a bucket of water, so nothing special. And then the chrysanthemums, and these come with a little protective net head on them, because when the flowers open they can be quite delicate with lots of little petals, and if they were moved in full bloom they would get damaged really easily. So it's really common that your bloom chrysanthemums will be packed like that for delivery. So the same thing here, I can take off any lower leaves I think are going to be inside my vase, and you can see as I hold those stems up to the camera they are really dry. So coming back in with my scissors, recut the stems, pinning all over the place, and then they've all got a juicy fresh cut and they'll take up water much more easily. And then the best bit, take off the protective netting, so pinch it at the top. Oh, you're going to have to pull it from the bottom. You don't want to pull from the top and then find you've pulled the flower head off. Is that going to open? You can see it relaxing, open like a slow-mo film compared to the tight bud. So that'll open up in no time at all in the vase. In fact, I might put the others in still with their net on, and then we can compare them later. So I'm just going to have them sitting in water for the moment now, So out of the box, I mean, they do look much better. It's just because they're flat packed and you don't normally expect to see flowers sort of naked in a box. Once they look in the vase, they look much better. And as I say, I have had my flowers out of water for a little time, so I didn't realise they'd been delivered, but they will recover. So I'll come back and report on how they're looking in a couple of hours' time, and they've had a really good chance to have a drink. So here we are a few hours later, and my flowers have had plenty of time to drink, and don't they look fantastic? So this is the chrysanthemum bloom, and I've taken off the protective net covering so you can see the difference in size between when it's all crunched up together and then when it actually has a few hours to relax, and that's just a beautiful, really large flower. It's practically the same size as my hand. And then the Michaelmas daisies, which are little double daisies, they've got extra petals around them. If you remember when I first held those up, they look really quite sad and droopy, and some of the greenery was the foliage was really dangling down, and I'm really pleased with how they've recovered. So what I should say is that really you should be putting your flowers into water as soon as you get them, or if like me there's been a delay and for whatever reason you haven't been able to get your flowers into water straight away, don't worry, because they might look droopy in the box, but if you cut the stems, recut the stems, take off any green that will be inside the vase, inside the water, and they will recover. But for your peace of mind, you might want to do it straight away, and then you won't have any problems. And then this is the phlox at the end. So again, that was really looking quite droopy when I first unpacked it. I'm going to just pinch a head off there. I think that flower's gone over a little bit. And that's easy enough to do. And then all the other buds will start to fill out, and as they do go over, you can just pinch them off, and then you'll have the beautiful flowers to enjoy for a bit longer. So I'm now going to arrange the flowers. So I've got my vase with water in it, and I've added flower food to my vase, and I'm going to start with my Michaelmas daisy first of all. So again, I will recut the stems a little bit. So now I'm recutting the stems to make sure it looks nice in my vase. So I want them a little bit shorter so they just rest on the edge of the vase. So I've got 4 stems of those. So I'm going to go sort of one on each corner, if a round vase can have a corner, sort of north, south, east, west, so they rest, and the stems in the vase will start to interlock a little bit. So just a little bit of each of those, and then that gives me some gaps to arrange in, and I've got 5 of those. So let's see if I can get one towards the middle as well. That'll stand up in a moment. 3 of the stalks, so same thing, I'll aim those into the gaps I've created between the Michaelmas daisy, 2 Michaelmas daisy with a phlox in the middle. The next one here. And the more stems you add in, the more secure and upright your flowers will be. So the first few stems you put in, they will rock around in the vase a little bit. Now this one, the really large open bloom, I'm going to set that down into my vase quite low. I like having my flowers at different heights. I'm going to take off a bit more of the green, and to measure, if I slide the container to the edge of my workbench, I can hold my flower up and it'll give me an idea of where to cut it. So you might want to keep all your flowers the same height, but my personal preference is to have them at slightly different heights so that you can enjoy all the flowers and sort of wander around with your eye looking at them all, rather than having them all fanning out and all the flowers on the top level. So come in with my next flower, which I'm going to have slightly taller. So I'm not going to take off the protective covers just yet. I'm going to leave that till the end until I'm sure I've got everything where I want. I don't want to be going in and moving the flowers and dislodging the petals. Recut the stems afresh. It's just a good practice to recut them. You can adapt the height. Here I've got some side shoots which are going to end up inside the vase. I'm going to peel those off. This one hardly needs anything off the end. That's going to go out towards the back, practically standing up straight. And then I've got a bit of a gap in the middle here. So I shall cut my last stem to fill in that gap and take off some of the lower leaves. And wiggle that stem in. And because the chrysanthemums have got lots of big leaves on them that seem to be holding up quite well. That helps fill the vase out with greenery as well. And then you can go back in, and if you think things need adjusting, so you can see them. You want to see all the individual flowers rather than sort of melting into each other, just so you can really show them off. And with arranging water, you can just pick things up and reposition them. So I've got flocks of phlox and then a hidden phlox here at the back you can't see, so I might move that just so I can see a bit better. So now my eye's taken through from the front phlox here to the middle to the one at the back, and then my eye rests on this huge bloom here, and then it's got others to look at, and it goes right through to the back vase as well. So now for the great bit is pulling the protective nets off, and again I still can't quite pull it from the top, so I'm going to peel off from the bottom. You can see almost straight away starting to open out there. Work my way through. And then I'll turn the vase around to the last one at the back. So as I say, they will open out over the next few hours. They will relax. And then you can just keep adjusting things to how you want it. So these large blooms, as I say, will open up. In fact, you can see them opening out already. And that makes a really great display. And my top tip really is to cut your flowers slightly different heights so you can see everything in your vase. So don't forget, if you do want to use my discount code, it's Julie D 3596. You just need to go to Freddie's Flowers and put that code in, and you'll get your first box of flowers free. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the little bell and you will get notifications every time I upload a new video, and I'll see you another time.